Did you know that Africa had universities centuries before Europe? Much of what we learn about history focuses on Europe and the Americas, often leaving out crucial achievements and contributions from the African continent. Today, we're diving into some of the most important parts of African history that schools often forget to teach. Let's start at the very beginning, in ancient Egypt. This civilization, centered on the Fertile Nile Valley, unified around 3100 BC under Nama, also known as Menes. Egypt wasn't just pyramids and pharaohs. It was one of the world's earliest large-scale states. They built monumental architecture, yes, but also sophisticated administrative systems. And don't forget the scribal culture that preserved legal, mathematical, medical, and religious texts. The Great Pyramid of Giza, a testament to their engineering prowess, was built around 2580 to 2560 BC. Moving south, we find the Kingdom of Kush, also known as Nubia, in present-day Sudan and southern Egypt. Kush rose around 1070 BC. Its power was such that the 25th dynasty of Egypt was actually ruled by Kushite kings from 744 to 656 BC. King Pi, also known as Pianki, led the conquest of Egypt. Taharqa became one of its best-known pharaohs. Later, Mary became a major ironworking and trade center, flourishing from about 300 BC to 350 C. It's not all ancient history either. Fast forward to 859 C in Fez, Morocco. Here, Fatima Al-Fihri founded the University of Al-Qarawiyyin. It's often cited as one of the oldest continuously operating universities in the world. It was a hub for scholarship in law, theology, astronomy, grammar, and mathematics. Then there's Timbuktu, in present-day Mali. Its peak period was especially during the 15th and 16th centuries, under the Mali and Songhai empires. The Sanko Madrasa, or Sanko University Complex, was its intellectual heart. Mansa Musa, who ruled from about 1312 to 1337, was a major patron. Timbuktu housed massive manuscript collections covering astronomy, medicine, law, theology, trade, and even poetry. Great Zimbabwe, located in present-day Zimbabwe, was built from about the 11th to the 15th century C. It peaked around 1300 to 1450 C. It's famous for its massive dry stone architecture, including the Great Enclosure. It was a political and trading center, deeply connected to the Indian Ocean economy. The Benin Kingdom, in present-day southern Nigeria, flourished especially from the 13th to the 19th centuries. It was known for its advanced urban planning, court administration, and unique bronze casting traditions. The Benin bronzes, tragically looted by British forces in 1897, are a testament to their artistic skill. These are just a few examples of thriving civilizations. Let's move on to the empires. The Ghana Empire, in West Africa, mainly in modern Mauritania and Mali, thrived from roughly the 6th to the 13th centuries. It was a major player in the trans-Saharan trade of gold, salt, and ivory. Its capital is often associated with Kumbi Sola. The Mali Empire, from about 1235 to 1670, was founded by Sundiata Keita after the Battle of Karina in 1235. Mansa Musa, again, is its most famous ruler. The empire controlled major trade routes and accumulated incredible wealth through the gold trade. The Songhai Empire, from roughly the 1430s to 1591, had rulers like Sunni Ali, who ruled from 1464 to 1492, and Askar Muhammad I, who ruled from 1493 to 1528. The empire ultimately fell to the Moroccan invasion at the Battle of Tondeba in 1591. We can't forget the Ethiopian Empire, one of the oldest continuous states in Africa. The Aksumite Empire flourished from roughly 100 to 940 C. Christianity became established in the 4th century under King Ezana. Ethiopia is historically significant for maintaining its sovereignty against European colonial conquest, apart from a brief Italian occupation from 1936 to 1941. It's important to note that African resistance to slavery and colonialism was widespread and impactful. The Haitian Revolution, from 1791 to 1804, though in the Caribbean, was led largely by people of African origin. It profoundly shaped anti-slavery struggles globally. Key figures include Toussaint Louverture, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, and Henri Christophe. The Moji Moji Rebellion, in German East Africa, now Tanzania, from 1905 to 1907, was a major anti-colonial uprising against German rule. The Battle of Odwa, on March 1, 1896, saw Ethiopian forces led by Emperor Menelik II defeat Italian forces. It was one of the most important anti-colonial victories in African history. The Mau Mau Uprising in Kenya, from roughly 1952 to 1960, was a major anti-colonial struggle against British rule. Dedan Kimathi was a key figure. British repression involved mass detention and violence. The Algerian War of Independence, from 1954 to 1962, was fought against French colonial rule. The FLN, or National Liberation Front, was a key organization. And the anti-apartheid struggle in South Africa, formalized in 1948 and dismantled in the early 1990s, saw key figures like Nelson Mandela, Oliver Tambo, Albertina Sisulu, Steve Biko, and Walter Sisulu. The first democratic election was held on April 27, 1994. Beyond empires and resistance, African intellectual and scientific achievements are often overlooked. Ancient Egyptian mathematics, as seen in the Rhind mathematical papyrus from around 1550 BC and the Moscow mathematical papyrus from around 1850 BC, shows practical geometry, fractions, and problem solving. African astronomers and scholars in North and West Africa documented celestial observations for navigation, calendars, and religious life. Ancient Egyptian medical texts, like the Edwin Smith papyrus from around 1600 BC and the Ebers papyrus from around 1550 BC, include surgical procedures, diagnosis, and pharmacological treatments. Ironworking developed in parts of Africa very early, though the exact origins remain debated. The Nok culture in present-day Nigeria is associated with ironworking by at least 900 BC. Maroi later became renowned for iron production. The reality is that many school systems present Africa as if it had no writing, cities, or formal scholarship before colonialism. That's simply false. Africa had written traditions, universities and madrasa systems, kingdoms with taxation and diplomacy, architecture requiring large labor organization, and legal and theological literatures. Timbuktu, for example, had a thriving manuscript culture, not just an oral tradition. Thousands of manuscripts survive in families and archives in Mali and neighboring regions. Subjects include astronomy, logic, inheritance law, medicine, grammar, ethics, and trade contracts. Some collections were even hidden during extremist attacks in Mali in the 2010s to protect them from destruction. West and East African states were central to global trade in luxury goods like gold, salt, ivory, enslaved people, beads, textiles, and metal goods. The Swahili coast linked Africa to Arabia, Persia, India, and later China through Indian Ocean commerce. Women held real political and intellectual power. Amenarinas, Kandake of Kush, resisted Roman expansion around 24 to 20 BC. Fatima al-Fihri founded Al-Qarawiyyin in 859 CE. Nzingamband of Nongo and Matamba, in present-day Angola, led resistance to Portuguese expansion in the 17th century. Yasantowa led the Ashanti War of the Golden Stool against British colonialism in 1900. The history of Africa is rich, complex, and deeply influential. By understanding what's been left out of traditional education, we can gain a more complete and accurate view of the world's past and present. It's time we all learned the full story. Aerial view of the Nile River winding through the desert landscape of Egypt, sun reflecting on the water, cinematic 8K.